Up to now, the stories I've shared with you were born from ancient pacts, from whispered legends and fears, hidden in the folds of folklore. These were secrets guarded by communities, by families, by traditions. But there's another kind of secret, a more modern, colder, and perhaps more relentless type, the corporate secret. Large industries, in their incessant search for resources, dig deeper than any explorer, map territories no government knows, and sometimes they find things. Things that weren't on geological maps, anomalies that defy science and common sense. And when that happens, the protocol isn't superstition or prayer. It's a confidentiality agreement, a mass dismissal, a fabricated bankruptcy, silence bought with money and fear. 70% of our planet's surface is covered by water, and we, humanity, have explored less than 5% of our own ocean. Less than 5%. We send probes to Mars, telescopes to the confines of the universe. But the biggest and darkest mystery of our world remains here, under our noses, just a few kilometers deep. The ocean is not just an ecosystem. It is our collective unconscious, the place from which life came, and the place that holds secrets too old for our understanding. And sometimes, in its vast and indifferent solitude, it returns one of these secrets to the surface. Today's story is about one of those times. It is about a ship that found something that should not have been found. Good evening, or good morning. I am the Abyss Watcher. As I announced, our next investigation will be different. It is so complex, so profound, that it will need to be told in two parts. Today, you will hear the first part, the discovery of a modern ghost ship, and the only document that can explain what happened to its crew. This is the story of the cargo ship Ocean Soul, and the diary of its captain. A diary that begins with the routine of the sea and ends with a warning that echoes from the darkest depths of the planet. And before we open this diary, if you too are fascinated and terrified by the mysteries of the ocean, leave your like to signal that you are on board this expedition. And if you are new here, subscribe to the Abyss Watcher channel and hit the bell, because you won't want to miss the conclusion of this story. The journey that begins today will literally take us to the bottom of the sea. Let's weigh anchor. This investigation started differently. It wasn't an email from a follower, but an encrypted message from a source who, for obvious reasons, will remain anonymous. A source within the Royal Navy. My work on the channel, it seems, has caught the attention of people in ... interesting places. The source told me there was a recent case, classified as a non-hostile national security incident, that was being hushed up. 4 months ago, a Royal Navy patrol found a British cargo ship, the Ocean Soul, adrift in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, halfway on the route between the port of Southampton and Lisbon, Portugal. The ship was in perfect condition. Engines on standby, navigation systems working, no signs of struggle, piracy, or any structural damage. Food was served on the mess hall table, still warm. Coffee was in the pot, but there was no one on board. The entire crew, 30 men, from the captain to the cook, had vanished, simply evaporated in the middle of the ocean. Officially, the Royal Navy's investigation concluded that the crew was probably swept off the deck by an anomalous wave, a rogue wave, a rare but known phenomenon. Case closed. But my source told me that was the story for the public. The truth was stranger. There were two things that didn't fit. Firstly, the ship's deck had residues of an unknown organic matter, a kind of sludge that disintegrated on contact with air. Secondly, the ship's high-depth research winch, equipment for collecting samples from the seabed, was severely damaged, its steel cables almost broken, as if it had hoisted a weight far beyond its capacity. And the most important item, the personal diary of Captain Arthur Miller, found intact in his cabin. My source sent me photos of each page of that diary. The world deserves to know what really happened to those men, the message read. And it is this diary that I will share with you now. The last voyage of the Ocean Soul, told by the hand of its captain. The first entries in the diary are exactly what one expects from an experienced seaman. Captain Miller was methodical, a professional. His notes were about work. March 12th, we left the port of Southampton promptly at 0600, container and grain cargo secured. Good weather, calm sea. The new crew seems competent, although the first mate, James, talks too much for my liking. Smooth journey predicted. 25 days to Lisbon. March 18th, already at high sea. Routine has set in. The ship's sway is our clock. We had a small problem with the starboard engine, but the engineering team quickly resolved it. The cook keeps oversalting. Other than that, everything normal. The ocean is a blue mirror. A calm that, for an old sailor, is always a little suspicious. I read pages and pages like this. He described the boredom, the small disputes among the crew, the homesickness. He was a solitary man, married to the sea. His words painted the portrait of a functional, normal ship, crossing the Atlantic like thousands of others. There was nothing to indicate the tragedy that was to come, until the entry for March 28th. March 28th. Something extraordinary happened today. We were passing over the mid-Atlantic ridge, an area of abyssal depth, more than 4,000 meters. The deep sonar, which is usually on by protocol, began to beep strangely. The operator called me to the bridge. There was an object. A huge object on the seabed. It wasn't an underwater mountain. The signature was too solid, too defined. And it wasn't a shipwreck. The shape was ... wrong. Smooth, symmetrical. Dr. Thompson, the geologist we have on board for this voyage, said he'd never seen anything like it. Curiosity took hold of the crew. And me too. I made a decision that might be imprudent. This ship is equipped with a state-of-the-art research winch, capable of descending to great depths. If what is down there is an artifact, a meteorite, anything of value, the right of salvage would be ours. The crew is euphoric at the possibility. I am intrigued. Tomorrow, at dawn, we will try to fish up whatever is sleeping at the bottom of the ocean. That was the last normal entry in the diary. The last entry of a man in control. From here, the story stops being about a ship and starts being about what it brought from the depths. The next entry was written almost 24 hours later. The captain's handwriting, previously firm, was now hurried, almost shaky. March 29th. I don't know how to describe today. The hoisting operation began at 0700. We lowered the titanium claw of the winch. At 4,200 meters, it reached the object and managed to latch onto it. The problem was bringing it up. The weight was ... colossal, far beyond what the sonar estimated. The winch operated at its maximum limit for 12 straight hours. 12 hours. The engine groaned, the steel cables groaned, seemed like they would snap at any moment. The ship's hull creaked. I have never demanded so much from the Ocean Soul. The entire crew was on deck, silent, just staring at the taut cable, like a fishing line hooked to a leviathan. Several times I thought about aborting, cutting the cable. But there was something, an obstinacy, a need to see what was on the other end, that took hold of all of us. It was like a fever. Here begins what's truly scary. At dusk, finally, the thing broke the surface of the water. There was no sound of an object emerging. The water seemed to open silently for it, and it appeared, black against the purple sunset sky. We all stood in silence. It wasn't an artifact. It wasn't a meteorite. It was a stone, but not a normal stone. It was an almost perfect oval shape. An egg, the size of a small car. The surface was an absolute black, darker than any rock I've ever seen. It was smooth, without any imperfection, like polished obsidian, and it didn't reflect light. It seemed to swallow it. With the winch's last effort, we brought it onto the deck. The impact on the steel was dull, heavy. And the first thing we noticed was the heat. The stone radiated a soft, constant heat, and the second was the sound, a hum, a vibration of such low frequency that you felt it more in your bones than heard it with your ears. The crew is in a state of euphoria and awe. They touch the stone, talk to it. They say it's a gift from the sea, a good luck omen. I'm not so sure. When I touched it, I didn't feel good luck. I felt something ancient. And I felt that by bringing it to light, we made a terrible mistake. The diary entries in the following days become the record of a slow-motion nightmare. The sanity of Captain Miller and his crew unraveling, page by page. March 31st. Discipline on board is gone. No one keeps their schedules anymore. I find sailors, engineers, First Mate James himself, standing on deck for hours, just staring at the stone. They call it the heart of the sea. Their eyes glaze over. When I talk to them, they take a long time to answer, as if waking from a trance. The hum is louder. And now, there's something else. At night, a song. It seems to come from inside the stone. It's not a human melody. It's a series of harmonic tones, sad and beautiful in an alien way. Some of the crew have started to hum along with the song, unconsciously, while working, or while sleeping. April 2nd, my nightmares began. I dream every night of a city, a submerged city with an architecture that hurts my eyes, full of impossible angles. And in the dream, I know the city is calling for the stone. It wants its heart back. I wake up sweating, with the song echoing in my head. I checked our course. We are off course. Someone diverted the ship during the night. No one admits it. April 4th. It's getting worse. The men are becoming aggressive. They quarrel to see who gets closest to the stone. I saw two of them fighting with knives over it. The energy on board is heavy, paranoid. I locked myself in my cabin. I try to call on the radio, ask for help, but the radio only emits static. It's as if the stone is blocking our signal, isolating us from the world. The captain's handwriting here becomes almost illegible, full of scratches and shaky words. April 5th, it's going to open. A fissure appeared on the surface. A thin line like a lightning bolt, pulsing with a pale blue light from within. The song got louder. It's no longer a hum. It's a call. The entire crew is on deck, on their knees, around the stone. They are singing along with it. I am alone. Whatever is inside, is being born. And then the last page. It's not a diary entry. It's a single sentence, scribbled in the middle of the page, with such force that the paper almost tore. The ink is smeared, as if the hand that wrote it was wet or violently trembling. The stone opened. It's not a stone. It's an egg. The song stopped. Now it's calling for its mother. May God forgive us. That was the last thing Captain Arthur Miller wrote. After that, silence. The ship was found days later empty. The Royal Navy, in its confidential report, states that the object was not found on board. It disappeared. Just like the 30 men of the crew. What was the creature that hatched from that egg in the middle of the Atlantic? And to what mother, vast and terrible, was it calling from the depths? I don't think the crew of the Ocean Soul disappeared. I think they were the first answer to the call. And the story, it doesn't end here. My contact in the Royal Navy, risking everything, gave me one more piece of information. The last known coordinates of the ship before the diary went silent. And I discovered something. An international deep-sea exploration company is sending a research submarine to that exact area next month to investigate magnetic anomalies. I used all my credentials, all my contacts, and I secured a spot on the team as a journalist and documentarian. In part 2 of this story, we will descend. We will go with a research submarine to the bottom of the ocean to see the emptiness and to discover who or what answered the creature's call. If this story left you breathless, if you need to know what's at the bottom of the sea, subscribe to the Abyss Watcher channel and hit the bell, because the conclusion of this journey will be our most dangerous expedition to date. Leave your like and your comments with your theories. What do you think we will find down there? Thank you for sailing with me on this sea of mysteries. See you in the depths. Until next time.